Another artifact. No. You will stay here. I have seen enough for one life. Desmond?
He's talking to me?
I heard your name once before, Desmond. A long time ago. And now it lingers in my mind, like an image from an old dream. I do not know where you are, or by what means you can hear me. But I know you are listening. I have lived my life as best I could, not knowing its purpose, but drawn forward like a moth to a distant moon. And here at last, I discover a strange truth. But I am only a conduit for a message that eludes my understanding. Who are we, who have been so blessed, to share our stories like this? To speak across centuries.
Did you hear that? Those words from Ezio Auditore da Firenze perfectly sum up what made Assassin's Creed such a unique franchise that still to this day remains my absolute favourite of all time. I have grown up with Assassin's Creed for the 10 years that it has been around. To witness it grow and evolve mechanically, visually, and in many ways emotionally, has been an experience that I can't put on the level of anything else in my time. However, in recent years with the release of Assassin's Creed Unity, Rogue, and Syndicate, it would seem that the franchise has lost its identity, and something that bothers me and continues to bother me to this day is that a lot of people, I think, don't seem to grasp what made Assassin's Creed, well, Assassin's Creed. What most likely struck many when they booted up the first Assassin's Creed game back in 2007, and certainly me when I started playing it, was the fact that the narrative backbone of the game centred around a young bartender and assassin named Desmond Miles who is kidnapped and forced to relive the genetic memories of his assassin ancestor through a machine called the Animus. Desmond's kidnappers, Abstergo Industries, the face of the modern day Templars, use him so they can find a piece of technology that will benefit them in the centuries-old war between assassins and Templars. And as the story continued, Desmond had to use the Animus to live through the lives of his ancestors Altair, Ezio, and Connor, in order to become the ultimate assassin, to find clues and uncover secrets in order to prevent the ultimate 2012 apocalypse, something which was very topical in regards to the first 5 games in the series. For many, this was seen as a turn-off, as it was often seen as disrupting the flow of an otherwise excellent historical action-adventure game. Many people would have rather just run around stabbing people without the need for a science fiction backdrop. Get rid of the modern day, people cry! The historical setting is the most interesting part, Desmond is boring, the whole story is boring, and yet... how interesting is it that the franchise started to lose its footing when the modern day was reduced to...
Hello, Initiate.
Now, there are many factors that help make Assassin's Creed unique that I could talk about for days. The hauntingly beautiful soundtracks, the lavishness of the visuals, the eerie atmosphere, the scale of the world, the breadth and depth of the story and side activities, and the historical accuracy and attention to detail that still blows my mind. All of that, however, wouldn't mean a damn if the series wasn't about something. Assassin's Creed is about lineage, what we leave behind. It's about complex morality with its exploration of politics and religion, and how our ancestors shape and define who we are. Its themes and story give so much weight to what would have otherwise been a generic action-adventure video game. Desmond is an audience surrogate character. He's in a very meta way us the player, with the Animus being a very clever way of explaining things like the health bar, the HUD, and random weird glitches that pop up occasionally. By placing a big emphasis on Desmond being the main character in a larger story about the end of the world, it actually gives the stories of the ancestors importance and makes you care for them and root for them to win, and adds dramatic weight to a device that otherwise would rob the story of any dramatic tension. but beyond that, it also gives the player an importance without you even realizing it. Through the first 5 games, the story and game world continually built on itself. Every aspect of the historical story continually fed into the present world. We learnt along with Desmond and got better at the games as he got better at being an assassin, uncovered the secrets of the first civilization and centuries-old mysteries as he did, along with great supporting characters like Rebecca, Sean and Lucy. We were along for the ride with him. Watching Desmond grow, learn and develop his skills gave me the impression that we were leading to a final game with Desmond where the series would eventually conclude. It made the wonderful stories of the ancestors all the more enchanting, engaging and yet tragic at the same time. Desmond's initial introduction to the Animus is as bewildering to him as it is to us, and like him, we take some time to adjust to the situation. Seeing a young man going from troubled bartender to the ultimate assassin is a story that anyone can relate to. His progression was also a natural metaphor for the mechanical and technical evolution of the games. Whenever a new game would be announced, I was excited for the new time period and the new assassin, obviously, and was okay that they were the only key elements being advertised, because I knew that when I finally got the game, I was going to get something deeper, something more than running along rooftops finding creative ways to kill people, which to me was the part the promotional material used to help get us all hyped. Modern day, however, was Assassin's Creed's bread and butter, the special ingredient they never talked too much about, like mayonnaise in a Big Mac. You know it's there, but McDonald's ain't ever gonna talk about it. Not only did it give the series its mystery and motivation to keep playing, but it really was the heart of the franchise. This is why for the most part I enjoyed the movie more so than the last few games, because while not being perfect, it understood the soul of Assassin's Creed. Unfortunately, not many people saw it this way, and Ubisoft took notice of this when they decided to crudely kill off Desmond, and reduce that relatable and engaging storyline to an overly in-your-face meta storyline consisting of just cutscenes, with nobody to go along for the ride with, and therein lies the real problem. Assassin's Creed is very much a narrative game, so when you reduce the bread and butter that holds the series together to something that has no overall goal or importance, what you are left with is a feeling of emptiness. It's why the newer games feel bland by comparison, because what ties them together? What's their goal? Nothing. They're just random stories that we play through, and the series ultimately becomes what it wasn't trying to be in the first place, a generic action-adventure video game. Whether the modern day storyline in the Desmond saga was bad is up to individual opinion, and it's certainly not perfect in my eyes. But even if it was bad, I myself would rather have a bad story with a purpose, rather than a half-baked reason for why I'm playing a game. I just miss having the motivation to find out what happens next, and I dread having to play another forgettable Assassin's Creed game rather than a unique one. The reason I think Black Flag was a success was because even if it didn't pull off this element in the greatest fashion, both timelines had a narrative arc that related back to each other, and the reveal of John from IT being a sage felt very Assassin's Creedy to me because of how it links to the past. That's what Assassin's Creed is truly about. The relationship between the past and the present, how our ancestors speak to who we are now, and the importance of what we leave behind for future generations. So when I hear people say things like,
the big thing that they have to pull off is either just scrapping the Abstergo plotline or doing something like Black Flag, minimizing it so much that you barely even notice it. It's a small 5-minute sequence in the beginning of the game just to get you into the Animus, and that's it.
That genuinely terrifies me. If rumour is to be believed, the next Assassin's Creed game coming out is to be set in ancient Egypt. Ubisoft have said that they are stepping back and re-examining the franchise, and I can only hope that they will look back and realise what made those first 5 games so special and beloved. Assassin's Creed is so much more than just stabbing people. Stories in video games have the potential to be so much more than bland, stoic figures running around hunting monsters and looking for treasure. All that stuff is fine, and without a doubt fun to do, but backing that up with strong characters, a purposeful and story-driven importance that extends beyond the mere act of performing menial tasks like hunting animals for cash, is all part of what immerses us in a world that not only feels alive and real, but one we are actively taking part in.